Welcome to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collisions, Ed Nunez, along with Austin Colleen. And in studio, we'll have Lorenzo Benavides. He beat Rico Arquizo in the last Legacy Boxing card at the Fairgrounds, Manuel Lujan Building. What an entertaining fight that was. We really like the way Lorenzo fights. I know I did. And, we'll get into more of that, though. I know that Arquizo not happy with the decision and, came to ringside and said some things to Adam Deal, yourself, and Daniel Pitbull Pettis was not happy. We'll get into that later. So much more to talk about. Austin, there's a lot going on in boxing. Legacy's next boxing card is set for July 20th. And this one at Tingley Coliseum. Explain a little bit.
Well, they moved it there, has a much greater seating capacity. I've never been in the building, so I know nothing about it, but I guess they have it corned off to seat 6,000 people. I guess what's it seat about 12,000?
About 12.
So they'll have 6,000 people. At the moment, it's going to be a 10-bout card because our guest today, that fight has just come up. Rico wants to fight Lorenzo.
A rematch against Lorenzo Benavides, which Lorenzo Benavides unanimous decision. Okay, so there might be a rematch there. Talk a little bit about, you got another tournament to talk about, which will feature Matthew Diamond Boy Griego, the return of. So go ahead, Austin, take it away.
The problem there is the promoter, obviously, if you're going to have a tournament, it's 3 dates, not 1 date.
There it is right there.
Okay, and every time they move the first round of the tournament, he also has to run back and take care of the other 2 rounds. So I've been talking to Robert Vargas, the promoter, and he still hopes that the fight tournament will take place. It's sponsored by the WBO, and there's some really
World Boxing
tough
organization. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough, very tough tournament if it does take place.
Let me ask you this again. This is food for thought. Diamond Boy, Matthew Diamond Boy Griego, 9-0, exciting fighter. Has been inactive a lot. And we hope to get him on. We've had him on before. Like to get him on again. He's been inactive for the last 2 years, maybe one fight, right? And there's things that happen. Promoters, I guess. But again, what do you think the reason is for such a long period of inactivity?
Well, one fighter in the tournament who was going to be Diamond Boy's opponent. He was on the screen here a few seconds ago. They're just tired of the postponements because they're not fighting at all. Now, Diamond Boy, he's on the Diamond Boy's in the red shirt. And that's,
on the right?
Right, and that's Anton Martinez. He's a lightweight who fights out of up in the Espanol Buffalo Thunder. So they're just friends. They weren't fighting each other. So in the last 16 months, Diamond Boy's had 1 fight and it lasted less than 2 rounds. So,
he's not got a lot of work, and again, people compare him. Again, he's early in his career, but comparisons have been made to Johnny Tapia. And again, you got to keep busy. You have to keep active. Ring rust can set in, things like that. So we're looking forward to the return of Diamond Boy.
Well, I talked to him on the way over to the studio today, and thank goodness you gave me a heads up. There was an accident
about that freeway,
and I was able to make adjustments, getting a shortcut. So then I'm talking to him on the phone, trying to figure out how the shortcut was working out to get over here. And then, of course, I had the wrong shirt on, so that's why I'm wearing.
Oh yes, just for our viewing audience, Austin Colleen, for all you Cowboy fans, let's go Highland Cowboy fans. Austin, you're representing. You don't know. I don't even know if you've been to Las Vegas, New Mexico, but great program out there. Richard Tripp, one of our announcers, covers the New Mexico Highlands extensively. So you're representing the Cowboys today a little bit. The Highlands Cowboys, not the Dallas Cowboys. I know you're not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, so.
Well, I like them. They're entertaining.
Okay. So, we're going to go over this Legacy Boxing card in depth with Lorenzo Benavides. Amir Khan versus Terrence Crawford last week. Khan stopped 6th round, low blow from Crawford. He can't continue. Crawford talking about Earl Spence, promotional ties to Al Heyman. Will that fight happen?
Well, the joke there was, why was that a pay-per-view fight? The Danny Garcia fight was free, and that was
against Granados.
And that was a far better fight, I thought. Danny Garcia looked really sharp. And I expected that he was going to have more difficulty in the match, and he just had his.
Yeah, they said Granados was a tough customer.
And he just, well, he
You
never
walked
been,
right through him, right?
and stopped him as the first person to ever stop him. So he looked really good. And then Amir, when after the fight, he was trying to say he was a warrior. And I think of fighters like Carmen Basilio and Tony DeMarco, and he's calling himself a warrior.
There's a lot of questions about that stoppage. You know, and I saw it, and I can't say whether it got hit low and it traveled up. I've never been in there. You have.
Well, you wear a leather protector cuff,
Right.
which is pretty, gives you a lot of protection. However, if you get hit with an uppercut, it can drive the cup up into you, and all of a sudden you're a singer from Minuto.
Right, and that could have very well happened. He had 5 minutes to recover.
Right.
Bob Arum was not complimentary afterward, thought he could have continued. We don't know. So, but what's more important, Terrence Bud Crawford's career continues on the uprise.
And then they were talking about who's the best pound for pound, him or Lomachenko. And
I think it's Lomachenko. That's my opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't see where that fight contributed to his ascent.
No, it didn't. It didn't, and just the way it was stopped, and yeah, and it's not Crawford's fault that Khan couldn't go on, but I don't know that helps his reputation as, they say the pound for pound. I don't know if that fight with Earl Spence, I would take Spence in that fight if that fight happens. Too many things contractually, things like that. I don't think we'll see it. I don't.
Yeah, well, Al Heyman, you notice there's very few photos of him. He's the absolute reverse of Don King. He doesn't want publicity for himself. And Bob Arum obviously was calling him out on the show.
That's kind of funny because Arum and King made a career of sniping at each other, almost coming to blows in some in some situations. There was it was really comical. Now we have more promoters. We'll be back to Legacy Boxing Showcase with our special guest Lorenzo Benavides after these messages.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS Network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. Ed Nunez, along with Austin Killeen, producer Josh Brown, who always does a great job. Big shout out to Josh. In studio with us is boxer Lorenzo Benavides with a record of 2-1, trained by Steve Garcia. A recent victory over Arquizo, and that was at the fairgrounds over Rico Arquizo at the fairgrounds of Manuel Lujan building. And that was a heck of a fight, man. You know, it really was. I mean, you're in his chest, and Arquizo afterward wasn't happy with the decision. You've since talked to him. He talked to Austin as well as Adam Deal and Daniel Pitbull Pettis at ringside. And tell us a little bit about that fight, because I just watched it the other day, and I mean, I'll tell you what, you got a great style. Your head's right in that guy's chest for all 3 rounds.
Oh yeah, man, that's the plan. Back him up, put the pressure, box a little more. I've been getting more comfortable as I'm progressing in my professional career. So with each fight, I'm getting more comfortable and boxing a little better. And that's the plan, keep improving.
Yeah, you definitely looked comfortable as far as where I could see Austin.
Well, I thought Rico used the wrong style. Obviously, he's just under 6 feet tall. I don't know why he didn't keep you at distance.
Yeah.
And I've seen many of his fights. I've known Rico since 2011. He's actually a very nice person. And he does this cover-up on the ropes, which works great if you're fighting someone 6 feet tall.
Oh, yeah.
But you're not 6 feet.
Definitely.
And you were able to split his gloves with your uppercuts. And I thought he should have used jabs to try to keep you at long range, make it more difficult.
Oh, yeah, he was throwing a lot of power punches more.
But he actually helped you look good by letting you get close to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where I feel most comfortable, is on the inside.
That's what Daniel Pitbull Pettis started saying that at ringside, that he should make it a distance fight. Boom, use the jab, keep you away. And instead, you were able to get on the inside, and you had your head right in his chest, and he wasn't able to, push off, boom, boom, counter. You set the tone, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you set the tone. Did he ever hurt you?
No, there was a few punches where I with that again, but I never really felt like I was in trouble at all in the fight.
Now, you pretty much controlled, like I said. He let you control the tempo, I thought.
Yeah.
And again, with the size advantage that you mentioned, Austin, I don't know that Arquizo, maybe he does something different if they're, in the rematch, which is being talked about for July 20th at Tingley Coliseum. Maybe he does something a little different, checks film, and does something different. Austin.
Well, I saw the fight taking place yesterday. I was with Aaron Perez at his place of business, and that's where the conversation started about you guys fighting. He put a call into Steve Garcia. And then I talked to Rico last night because I knew Rico definitely wanted the rematch. And so now it's going to happen. I think if Rico studies the film, he'll have to acknowledge he literally made you look good because he really didn't try to push you off. He just felt comfortable fighting on the ropes. But how many fighters are 5'2"?
Exactly.
And so that's an advantage you have when you go into the ring. Plus, I think you have the Bambi effect. Everybody just loves you. So you could literally go into the other guy's backyard and you'd have half the audience cheering for you in 30 seconds. So no one wants to see you get hurt.
I guess one of the things too is, you know, you come in and I think people look at you and they identify with you because, you know, they're thinking, hey, here's a guy who may not look, you know, the part, right? I mean, you get in there, you throw some bombs, man. So they might look at you and think, hey, you know, if he can get in there, right? Until they get in there with you, and then it's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
but I think that's why fans identify, and they you got a big fan following, man. That's what I told Austin the other day. I said, let's get see if we can get Lorenzo on, you know, because I know fans identify with you and feel like, hey, if he can get in there, I think I could, which they can't, let's be honest. The minute I boxed one time, I took a shot to the face, that was it for me.
Oh, yeah, it's not for everyone.
Yes, and it's a way different, right? Oh, I think I can go in there. Yeah, try it. But talk about your interest in growing up in boxing. When did you start getting that itch? Like, hey, I want to, you know, not, you know, again, you probably watched it. When was your interest to say, I want to get in there and try this? At what age?
I was about 12 years old. And my dad actually pushed me to do it. One of his friends at the time was a boxing trainer. And so my dad was like, hey, I'm going to take you to the gym, me and my little brother. And he was like, if you don't like it, you don't have to. But if you like it, I'll keep taking you. And my first month or so in the gym, I didn't really like boxing at all. It was weird. After my first sparring session was actually when I kind of fell in love with it.
Wow. And that, you know, it's kind of... Austin, we got about a minute left in this segment. Get one more question in. We'll bring him back for one more.
Well, I mean, when you think of the birth of boxing, two cavemen said, I got a great idea for a sport. I'm going to hit you in the face and you hit me in the face. I mean, it really doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it, it's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Outside the ring, it's safe.
Definitely.
So this, and I'd say this fight is 90% going to take place. And it's a good career move for both of you.
Yeah.
And then if it actually turned out where he won the second fight, I already can see bout number 3. And because you're a fan favorite, promoters are going to want you on their card.
Oh, yeah.
Because that means that's extra tickets that are going to be sold. So you're a promoter's dream.
Thank you.
Yes, looking forward to seeing him again. And July 20th, we'll talk more about that boxing card. When we come back, we'll be back to Legacy Boxing Showcase after these messages.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniform with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. Ed Nunez, along with Austin Killeen, producer Josh Brown. In studio, Lorenzo Benavides, record of 2-1, trained by Steve Garcia. We're going to take a look at the July 20th Legacy Boxing Showcase card at Tingley. You mentioned Austin, and I've been in that venue, it seems, millions of times. Now, you weren't here when the Civic Auditorium was here. That's been raised many years ago. Tingley Coliseum, built in 1969. A great venue then. You know, it's seen its days, not going to lie. It's seen its better days. But I think it's a great venue. They're only going to use half, you said. So I think it's going to be a great venue for the upcoming boxing card on July 20th. Let's go over some of these opponents have yet to be named. So go ahead and go over that with Lorenzo Benavides, and he's going to have a rematch with Rico Arquizo. You were victorious in the last card against Arquizo with a unanimous decision. We're looking forward to that rematch. Go ahead.
Well, the main event, they're talking about some names from Josh Torres. And I watched a video of one of the fighters they're considering for him. Unfortunately, I didn't write his name down. But if this fighter is his opponent, he definitely has a winning record. He would appear to be quicker than Josh Torres, because Josh is on a five straight knockouts, and he's just bombing people. And this kid obviously wouldn't be a stationary target.
So they're going to step it up a little bit there. And, you know, I want to go through these because I want to talk to Lorenzo about his road work, things, how he trains. Go ahead, Austin. Go ahead.
Well,
Papitas Escobar, Matthew Escobar, unnamed opponent yet.
Right. But he had a very impressive victory over Willie Villanueva, who is also on the card. So one fight that they don't want to put on right now is Matthew against Jose Luis Sanchez. Obviously, that would be
Papitas Escobar against
Because
Güero, against Jose Luis,
yeah.
Güero Sanchez.
That would be a terrific fight, but why put it on now? Let them both build up another win each, and they're both future opponents for Josh Torres. So
I've heard that mentioned. I know that was mentioned the other day. Papitas Escobar maybe against Josh Pitbull Torres down the line. You know, so maybe that's coming. But I think if Josh Torres keeps winning, he's got other things in mind.
Right.
So, and then we've got Willie Villanueva versus Benjamin Vasquez. That's announced.
Right, and I'm very familiar with Benjamin. I've seen him fight many times. As far as the punching power in that fight, without question, it goes into the corner of Vasquez. He can really hit.
Let's get to a couple of these fights, and I want to ask you, Lorenzo. You know, you're our guest. Training. Talk to me about training. You know, diet, everything else. Talk to me about, you know, how do you prepare for Rico Arquizo? You got a rematch coming up in July, and that's a couple months away. But still, preparation, I'm sure, starts. You're already starting.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
talk about your prep, your road work, what you do. You work late at night. Talk about your training regimen.
Well, I work night shift, so it's 10:30 to 7 in the morning. I'll get off at 7. Usually go home, sleep a little bit during the day, wake up around 4:35, go train, do my running, my exercising, everything, and go back to work. It's basically my day, my normal days. Training, we do a whole lot of just work. We're putting in
With
work.
Steve.
Yeah, it's good now. We've got quite the stable of professional fighters. So to be surrounded by more professional fighters, we all push each other and make sure we're all putting in the work.
Boy, I know that's good to have people that push you like that. And at 21, you're still very young. Three
yeah.
professional fights.
Yeah,
Long range goals.
definitely. I want to get to a world title. You know, every boxer's dream is a world title. Right now, I'm focusing on just keep winning. You know, I'm taking it one fight at a time for sure, but definitely down the line, I'd like to fight, you know, under the big lights.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you would, Austin.
Well, the thing, I've seen you fight over a dozen times, if I include your amateur career,
Oh yeah.
and your fitness, you never get tired. I look at you and I see a fighter that should be exhausted in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And inevitably, it's your opponent who's looking for oxygen, not you. How do you account for your cardio fitness?
I always look at boxing as it's a marathon, not a race. So if you're not going to be able to go the rounds, you're not going to be able to win fights. So it's a lot of road work, a lot of pushing it with the running, strength and conditioning, you know, different exercises to kind of build up all that cardio.
Do you do rope skipping?
Oh yeah, definitely. Jump rope.
Because I notice when I go to the gyms now, when I was fighting, that was everybody skip rope, and a lot of fighters don't.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Steve's very old school. Steve has us still training to win.
Working the bag, right? Working the.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is there anything? You're 21, man. You're 21. You're young. A changing body still, right? They say you don't hit your physical peak till you're 26. Is there anything in boxing, the training that's different that we don't know about that Steve's doing that might be a little different outside the box?
When we start preparing for fights, we do a lot more strength and conditioning, trying to get the power up a little more. You know, I haven't had a knockout yet, so I'm still looking for that.
But have power to knock out.
Oh yeah, I feel like I've been getting stronger with every camp, so I feel it's coming soon.
Almost got our case with the last time, man. I think you stunned me a
Yeah,
couple times.
yeah.
Austin got about a minute left. You wrap it up.
Well, just following up on that, in your fight with Rico, you both threw some pretty heavy shots.
Oh yeah.
Of course, when you're adrenaline in the fight, you really don't feel them until the next day. But I thought, and Rico can hit. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about your rematch.
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's going to be great. I've been talking with Rico on the phone, and he's in shape. He only weighs 190 now, so he's kept his weight under control, and you've only gained a few pounds.
Yeah.
So, which is normal between fights.
Oh
And
yeah.
you'll start your heavy prep, I'm certain, in June. And just to let the audience know, you and Rico have talked. You guys aren't like, grudge enemies. You respect each other.
Oh yeah, there's no bad blood at all there. You know, it's all a business at the end of the day. If he wants a rematch, we could do it again.
And it looks like that's gonna happen. So 30 seconds left, Austin, one parting shot.
Well, Rico definitely wants the rematch. There's no question. I'd say this is 90% going to happen. In fact, I'd be shocked if it doesn't take place.
Yeah.
Then we have something to look forward to on July 20th. That's going to do it for this episode of Legacy Boxing Showcase. For producer Josh Brown, Austin Killeen, our studio in-guest Lorenzo Benavides. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Legacy Boxing Showcase.